What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey. And if you stick around to the end, I'm not going to be giving it a score. This is a list today. Today we're looking at Dram Face's top 40 whiskey distilleries. I'll be looking at some of their top picks, and I'll be reorganizing them, reshuffling them into my own top 10 list. So it should be a fun one. Stick around. All right, so Dram Face, you may or may not know it. It's a pretty new website, but they do have a great team of writers and reviewers. And in the short time that they've been around, they've already become one of the top whiskey blogs on the internet. Probably. I did not look that up. They are definitely a well-respected website, though, and there's a lot of enthusiasts who contribute to the site. And there's even a few well-reputed whiskey bloggers and vloggers out there who contribute. And because it's an anonymous vlog, you never know. I might be one of the contributors. I'm not. However, when they launched, they did generously invite me to join the team, but I had to respectfully decline simply because I don't have the time and I don't know how to read or write. Regardless, they are a great website and they put out a little bit of everything. If it's whiskey related, you might find it on Dram Face. They have reviews, they have news, and they even have voter polls. And today we'll be looking at the latter. They did a poll recently where they asked their community to vote for their top 40 Scotch whiskey distilleries. And we're not going to be going over all top 40 today. That's too much, but I am going to be looking at the top 15. Then I'm going to be cherry picking my favorites from that top 15 list and filtering it down into my own top 10 list. And I realize it's kind of like a weird arbitrary set of rules. It is, but do what I want. Now, if you want to see all 40 of their choices, you can check out their website. I'll put a link to it down below. But the top 15, I'll save you some trouble. I've got them here. At 15, we had Glenallachie. At 14, Craigellachie. At 13, Kilchoman. 12, Laphroaig. 11, Ardbeg. 10, Deanston. 9, Benromach. 8, Tobermory. 7, Glen Scotia. 6, Glengyle. 5, Lachranza. 4, Bruichladdich. 3, Bunnahabhain. 2, Ardnamurchan. 1, Shocker, Springbank. I'll put the list of their top 15 here. We'll be referencing them later, but as I said, from this list of 15, I'm going to kind of shuffle things around and make my own top 10. And yeah, that's the premise. As usual, guys, I do have a mystery pour in my glass. Your hint for today is that this is a peated whiskey from Dram Face's top 15 whiskeys that didn't make it into my top 10. Actually, that makes no sense as a hint because you don't know what my top 10 are yet. So another hint. This is from a brand that I don't always get along with. It's a limited release from them from last year in 2023, and it's got a white port finish. So there's your hint. Yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into my list. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that would be greatly appreciated. Kicking off our list at number 10, Dram Face had Deanston. I'm picking Ardbeg. Now, Ardbeg is a wildly inconsistent brand. They have way too many special releases out there, and I don't think they're paying enough attention to their main line. You've probably heard all of this before, but I think they did win me over with a recent Bizarrebecue release. That was one of their special releases, but it was a very good one. I also really enjoyed my last bottle of 10. It was one of the better 10-year-olds that I'd had in a while from Ardbeg. The 10 and the Uigeadail are very inconsistent whiskeys, but when they're very good, they're of course very good. And the same can be said for Ardbeg as a brand on the whole. So yes, there are consistency issues, but I still love them. They're still fantastic. Ardbeg is at number 10. At number 9, the people at Dram Face chose Benromach, and I'm going with Bunnahabhain. Now, I know a lot of you out there are going to want this to be higher on the list, and for similar reasons that I placed Ardbeg a little bit lower, it is a brand that I love, and when they're great, but they do have consistency issues. I absolutely love Bunnahabhain 18. That said, I did have a lesser bottle of the 18 last year, and I was not impressed with that one, but still, most of the 18 bottles out there are very good. The 12 is a classic, it's a legend, what can you say? I think my biggest problem with Bunnahabhain is that they have a bunch of no age stated whiskeys out there, and those can really be a mixed bag. They're very hit or miss. Even a couple of the ones that I used to enjoy, I do feel like they've gone downhill. Also, I had one of their Fashil releases. I think it was not last year's, but from the year before. I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but this is what the bottle looks like. That was a good whiskey, but way too expensive for what it was. So yeah, it's just, there's a few disappointments from them, but they're still capable of doing incredible whiskey, and I still love the brand. So comes in at number 9. At number 8, the Dram Face poll gave us Tobermory. I'm going with Lachranza. I absolutely love Aaron. Obviously, the 10-year-old is very popular. The 18 is fantastic. I love the quarter cask. I like the sherry cask. Even the barrel reserve. Like, they have so many bangers. Arran is consistently delicious. It's almost all craft whiskeys except for the barrel reserve at 43%. The only issue is that I wish they leaned a little bit less nowadays into active casks. A lot of their whiskeys, their modern whiskeys, are a little bit louder when it comes to cask play, and stuff like the old tins and the old quarter casks had such a beautiful, vibrant, distillate-driven profile. They were sharper, they were more spirity, they weren't as round as they are today, but I liked Arran with a little bit more of that bite to it. That said, that is a very minor gripe, and it's still an excellent brand, and comes in at number 8. There we go, Arran. At number 7, the Dram Facers. Dram Facers? Yeah, okay. The Dram Facers chose Glen Scotia. I'm choosing Ben Romick. Ben Romick makes great stuff. The 15-year-old is one of my all-time favorite 15-year-old whiskeys, despite being a 43%. I absolutely love this stuff. Their cast strength stuff is almost always bangers. Their contrasts line is very interesting. And they just have a great profile. Lower ABVs across their core range, sure, but great character, gentle peat, a lot of first fill casks, great balance, and they're very distinctive. So yeah, I definitely needed them in my top 10. They hit number 7 for me, Ben Romick. For number 6, Dram Face had Glengyle. I've got Ardent American. Now, Ardent American has exploded in popularity over the last few years, rightly so. They have a coastal, oily, rich profile, gentle peat, fantastic cask play. They're just getting a lot of things right. The cask strength is fantastic. Their standard AD release is really, really good. Great special releases. This is just one of those brands that doesn't really get much wrong. I love these guys, and just in the last 10 years since they started distilling, they've already established themselves as one of Scotland's finest distilleries, and that's very impressive. So number 6, Ardent American. At number 5, Dram Face had Lachranza. I've got Glengyle. This is another brand that doesn't really mess things up. I don't think I've had a bad Kilkerran. I remember there was one of those early work in progress releases that didn't really work for me, but pretty much everything else I've ever had from the brand, I loved. At some point, I do want to put a video together where I kind of compare or maybe even rank all the Kilkerrans I have. That is something to look forward to on the channel. I do want to get around to that, so stay tuned. But yeah, that'll be a very flattering video. A lot of nice things will be said. This stuff is classic Campbelltown. It's Springbank, but it's not Springbank. We get gentle peat. It's coastal. It's rugged. It's as craft as they come. Delicious stuff. Comes in at number 5, Kilkerran / Glengyle. At number 4, Dram Face has Bruichladdich. I've got Tobermory. Now, I love Tobermory, the distillery. Tobermory, the brand, I like, but I don't love. This is entirely off the back of the Leipzig line, which is one of my favorite peated lines. The 18 is a fantastic whiskey. I'll be re-reviewing that soon. The 10 is a legend. The Rioja, one of the best bang for buck, budget-friendly whiskeys out there. Even their special releases. I reviewed a 9-year-old cask strength Bordeaux matured one not too long ago. Absolutely loved it. They have a unique profile. They have a certain funk to them. Intensely peaty. Great, flavorful stuff. They come in at number something. Leipzig. Tobermory. All right, so the Dram Face poll had Bunnahabhain at number 3 on their list. I've got Craigellachie. Craigellachie actually didn't even break into the top 10 on Dram Face, but personally, I've got to have them pretty high on my list. This is a brand that I love. The 13 was my first ever Whiskey of the Year on this channel, and I still love it to this day. The 17 is a banger. The 13 Armagnac is fantastic. I've had some incredible IBs from them. I hear some of their older stuff is also amazing. Wouldn't surprise me. This is an intense, rugged, meaty whiskey. It's very distinctive as a space cider, and it's just delicious stuff. Comes in at number 3, Craigellachie. At number 2, Dram Face had Ardent American. I've got Bruichladdich. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, this should not come as a big shock. This is a brand that I always carry on about. I love Bruichladdich. I love Port Charlotte. Despite the high prices, I even love the Octomores. Even just as separate brands, these would all be among my favorites. But the fact that they're all from one place, yeah, they're pretty good. Bruichladdich is consistently craft. They experiment with like local barley and stuff like that. They have a lot of transparency. They have incredible cask play. This is a brand that keeps things interesting. So I've got to put them at number 2, Bruichladdich. Okay, so we made it to number one. The number one pick on Dram Face was Springbank, and my number one pick was Springbank. Okay, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed my list. Now keep in mind, for the list, I was working with Dram Face's top 15. If I were left to my own devices, it would have looked pretty similar, but I guess there would have been a couple minor tweaks. Either way, super fun list to put together. All my opinion, of course, and I do want to hear yours. So what are your favorite brands, your favorite distilleries? What's really working for you in 2024? Curious to hear. And finally, moving on, if you guys stuck around to find out what the mystery pour is, your hint earlier was that this is from a brand that I don't always get along with. It's a peated whiskey, and it's a white port finish from a special release from last year. That's a lot of hints. The whiskey I've got is Laphroaig Cairdeas, Carchase, whatever. This is a whiskey that is not sold locally, unfortunately, but I do have friends in far places, and a buddy from the States brought this over. Jack, thank you very much for bringing this bottle to me. It's a very interesting whiskey. I will be reviewing it soon, so stay tuned for that. And I guess that'll be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to help out the channel, I do a Patreon and PayPal link down below. Anything and everything helps. And of course, I'm looking forward to reading the comments about your favorite distilleries on this one. So take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.